Motivating yourself to exercise can be a major obstacle, and even when you succeed, there are always days or moments when you don't feel like doing it. But not exercising or exercising too little has many negative consequences in the long run, which we are aware of, but in my opinion, not always enough. Welcome everyone, my name is Tobias Philipp, and in this episode I want to share my experiences with a lack of fitness and exercise. I have had a long period in my life of doing nothing, being out of shape and feeling miserable, which was probably one of the worst periods of my life, one of the worst parts of my life. And when I was not in shape, I had no energy, I had no motivation, I was never motivated, which also led to feeling a little bit depressed or not happy. This was something in that period which I was confronted by almost every day, because looking back at it now, there weren't almost any days where I felt way better. Maybe some a little bit better, but there weren't really days where I felt really happy. Almost every day was at least not the as good as it could have been. And looking back at it now again, I believe the math is simple, which is with a bad input, there also comes a bad output. And I believe in that period, I had many bad inputs and less good inputs, which, as I said, ended up being all bad outputs. But growing older and changes in my life and also changes in the world made me think, because only a few years before that, I was exercising almost always. I was playing football, which I did for many days in a week. And I was looking for reasons why I ended up in the place I was. And now I think the reason was very simple, because the reason was that it was my own fault. Because as I just said, if there's only bad inputs, there can only be bad outputs. Because I had exercised a lot in the past, I knew how it felt to be fit. I knew how it felt to feel good. So it wasn't really something which was new for me. And then I still can't really say or can't figure out for myself what made it click for me, or what really changed it for me. But just at some point I couldn't maybe I couldn't handle it anymore, and I just wanted to feel better again, or at least I wanted to feel good again. And that's when I just started small, because I really couldn't do anything. I was weighing over 100 kilos, so I started running, for example, but I didn't run very much in 3 years. So I just started with running 3 kilometers, just started small, and over time I increased the volume and I felt better, which now led me to the point where I completed a half Ironman triathlon only a few weeks ago, which was also something I thought I could never do. And just by taking on the challenge and proving to myself that I could do it also gave me a very good feeling, which also motivates me and helps me in different aspects of my life. Because now I know that if I just put in the work and put in the time, there are way more things I can accomplish as I once thought. And I know that it can be very difficult, because we have many things to do in our lives, and there are also many people who expect us to do many things. So I understand that it can be very complicated, because I've been on both sides and I know how it feels. And which I also know is that it can be very hard if you are not motivated at all, or maybe a little bit motivated, and that motivation just goes up and down. But when I now think about it, it actually is, or can be, doesn't have to be that hard. It can be a little bit easier, because if you think about your body, the better your body can function, the better your body feels or is, the better you can feel, and the better you can perform, and the better you can do all the things you need to do on a day-to-day basis. So what I want you to take away from this is that you just start small, start at your own level. You don't have to compare to someone else, because you're only doing it for yourself, because you want to feel better, or I wanted to feel better. And it is not a race of who is the fittest or who feels the best. You only do it for yourself. So you just start small, and like for me it was only running 3 kilometers. For someone else it may be only walking, but you just do something which benefits your fitness, what benefits your health. And in the end, if you can do this on a consistent basis. I can guarantee you that you will feel better. And over time, it gets easier and easier, because once you know how it feels to be fit, once you know how it feels to feel good, to have a lot of energy, it's easy to motivate yourself, because at least I never want to go back to that place. I always want to stay here. So when I also have days where I don't really feel like it, or I'm not that motivated, I just know that I have to do it, or I have to do at least something. Otherwise, I will end up where I was, and that's absolutely the last place I want to be. And you have to keep something like that in mind. You have to know for yourself why you want to do something, because if you don't know why you're doing it, it's really easy to quit. Because if those moments come that you don't feel like it, you don't have an answer for yourself, and then it becomes really easy to quit, and you tell yourself that it really doesn't matter, so you just don't do it. But if you know that you do it for a reason, if you know the reason you're doing it, it gets way easier to motivate yourself and to keep going. So feeling low energy, not motivated and miserable can absolutely be solved by getting in shape. That's at least what I've experienced for myself. And you do it for yourself. You don't do it for someone else. It's not a race. It's not a competition against somebody else. You just do it for yourself. So you don't have to compare yourself against someone else. And the better your body can perform, the better your body can function, the better you will feel, and you will see that many things, not only sports, not only exercise, all other things will go way easier and will go way better. And I know at the start, if you're not that motivated, if you haven't done something in a long time or haven't done anything at all, it can be really hard, but you just have to push yourself, and only the first few times are a little bit hard, but you will see that if you keep going and you start small, it will get a little bit easier every time. And then you just have to keep reminding yourself why you're doing it and what the goal is you want to achieve. And you have to know that if you don't do it, you will not achieve that what you want to achieve. And that is my perspective, and those are my experiences. Let me know in the comments what your experiences are. Share this episode with someone you think may benefit from it. And thank you again for listening.